Thanks for joining me today on Debbie's Scrapbooking Buddies channel. Debbie Martin here, and I'm going to show you how to make this fun, quick border today. Let's get started. We're going to be using the Dancing Snowflake Border Punch today. You can just grab some scraps to do this with if you want. I grabbed a scrap of white, and we want a 12-inch border to start with. So if you haven't used these punches before, you start it right here when you're doing a long 12-inch border. So punch. Then you bring the design down and cover up the blue exactly. Also making sure that you got a nice straight edge here at the back. I'm using the white cardstock today, so it's a little thicker, a little heavier than our normal cardstock. So you just got to press a little bit harder. So make sure this is nice and straight. And one more time. Oops, bring it back a little bit. And punch. There we go. If you end up with a little tiny of these little dangly things, you can just get rid of those. And let's get rid of our punch leftovers. And now we're ready to start putting it together. So I have the dimensions for you for each one of the strips. So the first strip that we're going to start with, I'm going to use in the Midnight Blue Shimmer. It has a little pretty shimmer to it. And this one is 2 inches by 10.5. So I've already punched, just to save a little time, one with the Platinum Shimmer. Really pretty to give it a glisten. We're going to be alternating those. So this is where you are going to need your repo tape. So just put your repo tape all the way down, because we're going to be using most of this on this. I'm going to be putting it on at a little bit of a diagonal. So let's start with, doesn't really matter which color you start with, but let's go ahead and start with the white because I happen to have it in my hand. So let's put this down like that. Now we're going to simply, I'm going to be putting it at a diagonal all the way up. We're going to clean this up with the trimmer when we're done, but we're just going to trim it off just a little bit. So as we go up, we want it to be a little bit different. So a little bit of an angle, maybe bring this in like that. Okay, so we might be using these little pieces here toward the end, but just clean it up just a little bit. Now we're going to go back to our white. It doesn't seem like this got quite enough adhesive on it. So let's bring that in here like this. Or maybe like that. Just on an angle. Okay. And if you haven't got to see this new Winter Bliss line that I'm going to be showing you in a few minutes, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Here in Indiana, we actually had snow yesterday. Still got snow on the ground here. And I gotta say, it's beautiful. Really pretty. And that's why I got this great light coming in my windows today, because it's reflecting off of the snow and coming in my window. Okay. Once again, you're just going at a little bit of an angle each time and alternating between the colors. You could add another blue in here if you wanted to alternate it between maybe a light blue too. If you wanted to do 3 different colors. And let's bring this in about like that. And we need some of this beautiful silver. We could flip it around about like that. Now we got it little tiny pieces. We just need to piece in at the top and the bottom. So what do we have left? We're going to need silver down here. So let's maybe go, let's bring it down a little bit farther. We'll do that, and then we need white here at the top. Maybe about like that. Let's add a little bit more adhesive on that so it stays. Perfect. Okay, this is where you're going to need your trimmer because we're going to clean it up to look nice and neat. So grab your trimmer out. We're going to flip it over. Put it there on the line. I'm going to grab my handy dandy sight guides because I want it to be right next to it on both ends. And then hold it. Okay. Then we're going to get all this leftover stuff we don't need out of here. Let's turn it this way and clean it up here on the edge. And turn it around here. Get a nice straight edge there. Grab your sight lines. Looks good. And last but not least, let's do this edge over there. Perfect. Okay, so here we go. We got our fun border. Let's start putting it together. This is where you can grab your scraps, grab any blues. You can grab paper from the Winter Bliss if you want. But what I did next was I did the 11. So this is 2 1/4. Our first one was 2 by 10.5. The blue I did, it's 2 1/4 by 11. Okay, so go ahead and grab some adhesive. We can put the regular adhesive on this now. And you're just gonna center it in the strip. Now I left a little extra at the top and the bottom because I played with it and I liked the way it looked. Okay, so the edges were a little thinner and it looks like I didn't trim this off right here. So I'm gonna come right back in here with a little pair of scissors and just go like that. Okay, so the blue piece was 2 1/4 by 11. So our next layer is going to be white, and the white one is 2 1/2 by 11 1/2. So go ahead and put your adhesive on that. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Ooh, out of tape, of course. Never fails. I always run out of tape during a video. Doing the same thing with this one, centering it with a little bit extra at the top and the bottom. And our last one, I went back with this midnight kind of shimmery blue. And let's put adhesive on that. I'm going to show you where we're going to do the last little finishing touches with this. Okay, how pretty is that? So all I did was simply pull out a couple of the sheets of paper from the Winter Bliss. Okay, so let me show you those. Looks like it's snowing. How gorgeous is that? And then we are just going to add, I already did one of the borders over here so you can see what it looks like. We're just going to add this onto here. Now we need something down here. So I was using the embellishments on here. Love, love, love these embellishments. Just a snowy scene. So look at this little house with the snow on it. And I think we got to pop that because sometimes you just need to pop it. So we're going to grab some foam squares. And I am going to put a few on the back here. There's so many different things you could choose for. Oh, look how cute that is. Let's run our house off this a little bit and let's grab a little green tree. Because I got to say my evergreen tree out front is, I'm going to say 80% covered right now with snow. So let's add that in here, kind of behind it a little bit. And let's take our backing off our foam squares. Now you got a couple options for this too. We can bring this so it comes off the edge just a little bit. It kind of comes alive. Now you could put it right here on the edge, you know, like I'd say 1/4 of an inch in. I kind of like the way that looks. You could bring it in more. You could bring it in where you could do 2 4x6s and 2 4x4s here if you wanted. I think I'm just gonna leave them right here for right now. So those were quick, easy borders. How long did it take us? 9 minutes. You could have 2 fun borders like this done in less than 20 minutes. Hope you enjoyed that and happy scrapbooking.